This is it. This is the DFB video that's going to help you finally decide if that 2024 Disney cruise is actually going to be the perfect vacation for you or not. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. So Disney's been investing a lot into their ships lately, and we're going to see a lot of those additions and updates on the cruises that are setting sail next year. But do all these shiny new updates mean you need to start planning for a 2024 Disney cruise, or will a cruise next year become riddled with red flags warning you that this is not the right vacation to drop a whole lot of moolah on? At least, not yet. Whether you end up saying yes to a Disney cruise by the end of this video or you remain on the fence about it, we've got a free Disney cruise planning guide you can pick up today by scanning the QR code you see on the screen right now. Get benefit out of all the mistakes I made. You can also head over to disneyfoodblog.com/cruise planning to access the same webpage at the same free price for the same ultra helpful cruise guide companion. Okay, here are the pros of the 2024 cruising. You're going to want to come sail away if these are enticing to you. Now, lots of exciting things are happening across the Disney cruise ships next year, so let's talk about why these things might convince you once and for all that it's time to set sail with Captain Mickey or Captain Minnie in 2024. Maybe you want to sail aboard Disney's brand new ship. That's the Disney Treasure. The Disney Treasure is going to take its maiden voyage on December 21st, 2024 for that Christmas cruise. It'll be the 6th ship in the Disney Cruise Line fleet. I know, that's really late into 2024, but hey, talk about a real nice Christmas vacation, right? While the Disney Wish is known as Disney's Castle on the Seas, the Disney Treasure will celebrate Walt Disney's lifelong love of adventure, with theming inspired by real places like Asia and Africa and far-off fictional lands like Aladdin's Agrabah. Of course, it won't just be friends from Aladdin joining you on the adventure. The Disney Treasure is also going to feature the far-reaching realms of Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, and Marvel, while also doing something they've never done before. They're going to bring the Disney parks onto the ships for the first time, and that's going to be really interesting. They're theming this ship in a lot of ways to Disney Parks attractions, so this is a real nod to enticing Disney Parks fans over to the cruise line. Now, when it comes to the Treasure's rotational dining offerings, you're going to see the Worlds of Marvel and 1923 copied and pasted from the Disney Wish, with a few unique Treasure-inspired additions sprinkled throughout. But a brand new dining experience will be introduced on the Treasure called Plaza de Coco. This will be a theatrical dining experience themed around Pixar's Coco, where Miguel and his familia will come together in the Mariachi Plaza to celebrate family memories and the joy of being together through live music and flavorful meals. Of course, that's a quote from Disney. So this is going to be a Mexican restaurant on the Disney cruise ship. And this one is going to be the corresponding restaurant to the Frozen restaurant that you have on the Disney Wish. Now, what else can we expect to see on the Disney Treasure? Well, there are going to be new lounges like the Skipper's Society based on the Jungle Cruise ride, and Periscope Pub based on the film 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, a Haunted Mansion bar, a Zootopia-themed dessert parlor called Jumbo's Sweets, an all-new Moana musical coming to the Walt Disney Theater, along with fan favorites like Beauty and the Beast and Disney Sea's The Adventure. The Aquamouse water coaster will be there with a brand new storyline, and there's a lot more. Now, maybe you're excited to just see the new island destination. So it's not just a new ship Disney's introducing to the cruise line family next year, it's a whole new island too. Located on the island of Eleuthera in the Bahamas, the new Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point will open to Disney Cruise Line passengers on certain sailings starting next June. So think of it like the younger sibling of Castaway Key. Both are private Bahamian destinations with sandy white beaches, premium port adventure excursions, water play areas, and several other activities you can fill your island day with. But one of the distinct ways Lookout Key is going to set itself apart from Castaway is through its colorful design work. According to Disney, Lookout Key has artistic expressions of the native flora and fauna of the Bahamas, and pageantry from the Junkanoo parades. You'll also find references to Bahamian folklore characters alongside your favorite Disney characters. Not every ship is going to be heading toward Lookout Key this summer, but select sailings aboard the Disney Dream, Magic, and Fantasy will feature itineraries with ports of call at this brand new cruising destination. You can find more specifics on our Lookout Key page featured on the DFB website. I'll link that for you down in the description. So what if you want to see the latest additions? The Disney Magic isn't just getting a new island destination this year, it's recently received some cool new changes on the inside too. Nope, not just one, 2 changes. First up, there's the new Encanto interactive experience. That's called an Encanto Celebration. It's been designed to engage families through music, crafts, and storytelling. You'll get the chance to meet Mirabel and Bruno and join in on an Encanto sing-along, which more than likely means you're going to be grooving along to We Don't Talk About Bruno, right? Now, along with belting out some of your favorite Disney songs at the top of your lungs, there's also butterfly and flower crafts inspired by the practically perfect Isabella, as well as a selection of local Colombian beers, cocktails, mocktails, and sodas. And then there's the new Pixar lounge, Soul Cat Lounge, which has been designed to look like the half-note lounge straight from the movie Soul. The space transports guests to a classic New York jazz club with a stage set for live music. Meeting guests can grab their partner and head to the dance floor, or stay put in one of those comfy leather chairs and just sip on their cocktails while appreciating the vibes. Okay, how about one more surprise update aboard the Disney Magic before we move on? They also recently enhanced its concierge lounge to feature a sophisticated new theme and tropical color palette inspired by Moana, with an additional outdoor covered seating area on deck 10 where guests can relax, enjoy a fruity beverage, and enjoy the ocean breeze. All concierge suites have also been refurbished with fresh fixtures, furniture, and elegant artwork, further elevating the premium experience for those concierge guests. Now, what if you want to go somewhere new? Well, Lighthouse Point is going to be Disney's newest private island destination. The Disney ships are also going to be sailing around new voyages outside the Bahamas in 2024. Just recently, select sailings have started making their way over to Australia and New Zealand, which is a first for Disney cruises. You can book your stateroom for one of the 2 to 6 night cruises from Auckland, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney, all aboard the Disney Wonder. I'll add that full cruising schedule for these Magic at Sea cruises down in the description. Starting this summer, the Disney Dream also began taking passengers around Europe and will be doing so again in 2024. Previously, if you wanted to do a European cruise around the Greek Isles, you had to book a stateroom on the Disney Magic. But now that the Dream has these options available, you can sail aboard a bigger, newer ship for a more comfortable voyage. One thing I do want to mention before you get hyped up for any particular one of these cruises is that your departing destination isn't always set in the US. So you might have to book a flight to one of Disney's other ports in a different country in order to experience the cruise voyage you really want to do. To keep your cruises within the US ports, you can plan to depart from one of the following cities. Now, these different US ports will still feature exciting voyages to overseas adventures in places like the Caribbean, Bermuda, Canada, Mexico. You can do that transatlantic cruise, and lots of other travel bucket list locations. So every Disney cruise has a Pirates Day at Sea, but not every cruise has a Marvel or Pixar Day at Sea to look forward to. But in 2024, you can be one of the lucky few to experience this limited time specialty themed day. The Pixar Day at Sea just debuted on the Fantasy in January 2023, but it's coming back in 2024. That means you have another opportunity for a day-long celebration to hang out with your favorite Pixar characters and enjoy some Pixar-themed entertainment and even eat Pixar-themed food. There's a breakfast with Woody and all his friends and a fun pool party and a Pixar Pals celebration dance party to end the night. Now, Pixar Day at Sea will be offered on select 7-night Caribbean cruises on the Fantasy sailing from Port Canaveral. Now, for all my superhero pals out there, the Marvel Day at Sea is also returning in 2024. This is a one-day celebration. It's all about the MCU. I actually got the chance to experience it when I was sailing on the Dream in January of this year, 2023. And it's super cool, but not like invasive if you're not a Marvel fan. Now, this includes meet and greets with the Avengers, including characters from Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain America and Thor and Black Panther and Scarlet Witch and any other super-powered friends that managed to take a break from saving the world to enjoy a day out at sea with you. There are even some very deep-cut characters that, I will be honest, I didn't know who they were, so I had to find out. But if you are a supreme Marvel fan, you will of course know who they are, and it'll be exciting that you get the chance to meet them, which you don't really get to do very often. There's going to be a deck show with more than 30 characters. This is where Spider-Man actually climbs the funnel, which is super fun. There's family game shows featuring Marvel trivia, there's special youth activities, and lots of other entertainment opportunities to make you feel like the newest member of the MCU. Marvel Day at Sea is being offered on select 5-night Caribbean cruises sailing from Fort Lauderdale in 2024. So, are you just one cruise away from leveling up as a Castaway Club member? Because there's a very crucial reason why you're going to want to go ahead and get that new ranking under your belt now. Just in case you need a little catch up on what on earth I'm talking about here, let's do a speedy Castaway Club recap. Castaway Club is a loyalty program for Disney Cruise Line passengers. Basically, the first time you cruise with Disney, you'll automatically be a part of this club, and the more you cruise with Disney, the higher you'll go up in the cruise line rankings, meaning you'll have more special privileges unlocked for your next sailing. So why is this important in 2024? Well, because a higher cruising status could be just the leverage you need to book a cruise aboard Disney's 7th ship entering the fleet. Nope, not talking about the Disney Treasure this time. Bookings have already opened for that one. I'm talking about the Adventure, which will be sailing with the rest of the Disney ships later on in 2025. We don't know a whole lot about the Disney Adventure just yet, but what we do know is that its home port will be Singapore, and it'll be voyaging across Southeast Asia. Now, the thing about the Castaway Club is that the higher you are in the club member rankings, the earlier you get to book stuff, including new sailing itineraries and also like adults only dining and those hard to get cabanas on Castaway Cay, etc. So if you're just one ranking away from being able to get early booking access to the Disney Adventure, once those booking dates are announced, then a 2024 Disney cruise just might be in your future. So a Disney theme park vacation and a Disney cruise vacation IP characters and magical vibes, but they're completely different experiences. So while a trip to the theme parks means a lot of extra planning and overwhelming crowds and 20,000 plus step days, a Disney cruise can be just as relaxing as you want it to be. Cruises are pretty much all inclusive, which means a lot less dining planning for you to worry about. Sure, there are adults only signature restaurants you can make reservations for, but even if you don't, you're still guaranteed a nice dinner at a highly themed Disney restaurant each evening aboard the ship. Cruises will usually have far less crowds than the Disney parks do. The crowds at the parks can be unpredictable, whereas on a cruise ship, they've got very strict capacity limits since the boats are only so big. You also don't have to worry about being on a constant schedule, rope dropping activities all day long and staring at your phone to make and change reservations. And Disney Genie Plus? I'm sorry, who is she? You don't have to worry about figuring out all the ins and outs of skipping over ride lines on a Disney would at the parks. Just as long as you check out the ship's daily itinerary on your Disney navigation app, you can plan your day with as many or as few activities as you want to. So for all you out there looking for a vacation that's less go, go, go and more go with the flow, the Disney cruises might be the best fit after all. Okay, so that's why you might want to sail in 2024. Now, what if you shouldn't sail in 2024? These are those cons, the reasons why you might not want to book a cruise next year. First, maybe you'd rather see all the new stuff at the parks instead. Look, it's not just the cruises that are getting new stuff next year. It's the parks too. In Disney World, the Disney dining plan is going to be returning on January 9th. The Polynesian Village DVC villas are going to open up later in 2024, and those Fort Wilderness DVC renovated cabins. The Country Bears Jamboree show is going to be reimagined. The Cake Bake Shop over at Boardwalk Inn is going to invite guests to dine this coming spring. And in both Disney World and Disneyland, you're going to get Tiana's Bayou Adventure, that re-themed Splash Mountain opening in 2024. And that doesn't even start to cover the stuff that's already opened or is slated to open within the next couple of months that you might not get the chance to see until 2024 anyways. Honestly, you might even be tempted to book an overseas park trip instead, especially since Tokyo Disney Sea is going to open up Fantasy Springs in June. Shanghai Disneyland's going to have that whole Zootopia section ready to go by the end of this year, and multiple parks like Hong Kong Disneyland, Walt Disney Studios in Paris, Tokyo Disney Sea, as part of their Fantasy Springs expansion, are going to bring the world of Frozen to life inside each of those locations. Honestly, having to choose between the parks or the cruises next year is a good problem to have because you're going to win either way. But if you can only choose one trip for 2024, which might be the biggest trip you take for the next few years, you're going to want to choose a vacation destination where you're not going to constantly be feeling FOMO over missing out on something else. So the Disney parks are known for their top-tier rides and attractions. We're talking dark rides, high-speed coasters, classic train loops, and all of these rides make those park visits incredibly immersive, nostalgic, and cool. Now, I guess you could argue that a Disney cruise is basically one major ride across the sea, but as far as having any of those big attractions that make you want to throw your hands up in the air and go, wee, they are lacking. Now, granted, you can ride some water slides on board the ships like the Aqueduct and the Aquamouse depending on your cruise, but these still aren't going to have the level of theming that the park rides have. A Disney cruise means missing out on rides like Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, Tron Light Cycle Run, Incredicoaster, and so much more. Now, if you're not a big rider, then this might not be that big a deal to you, but if you're a ride junkie, then a Disney cruise may not scratch that itch like the parks can. And maybe you'd rather choose a more affordable cruise option. As much as we love the Disney cruises, we can't ignore that the Disney Cruise Line is one of the priciest cruise options you and your family can invest in. Other cruise lines like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, they tend to be much more affordable options. Meanwhile, depending on the ship, the length of your voyage, your ports of calls, and the style of your stateroom, the rates for a Disney cruise for a family of 2 adults and 2 kids typically ranges around $3,000 to $4,000 for the shorter cruises and regular staterooms, and $7,000 to $10,000 for longer cruises. In regular staterooms, concierge is a little bit more expensive, etc. However, there are reasons Disney can get away with their prices being as high as they are, because where else are you going to be able to watch first-run Disney films, meet the Fab Five dressed up in their sailor attire, eat in an enchanting dining room setting inspired by your favorite animated movie, and train alongside superheroes and Jedis in highly themed kids clubs? All in all, Disney's going to make sure you have a fantastic time, but if you don't care quite as much about the whole Disney factor of things and you're just wanting to go on a decent cruise for its overseas voyages or to eat all-inclusive food for potentially hundreds of dollars less, then it may be worth looking into a different cruise line altogether. We've got a video out now comparing Disney Cruise Line to cheaper cruise lines, so if you want to take a deep dive into the pros and cons of each, go check that out. It's a really, really good video. Now, maybe the cruise isn't a right fit for your family right now. The Disney ships do a good job of being accessible for all ages, babies, kids, teens, adults, but that doesn't mean there aren't those awkward middle-of-the-road stages where the activities on the Disney cruises can either feel too young or too old. To explain this a little bit better, let me go ahead and break down the age groups for each of the childcare or kids club spaces aboard each ship. It's a Small World nursery is reserved for babies between the ages of 6 months to 3 years. Now, this is a great example because I sailed with my son when he was about a month away from turning 3 years old, and the nursery just wasn't a good fit for him. He needed more interaction, more stuff. He hated it because he was like, there's just a bunch of babies in here, and I totally got it. So that month away from 3 years old, when they're not yet allowed to go to the Oceaneer Club, which is for kids ages 3 to 12, and they're stuck in the nursery, that's kind of boring. So yeah, Oceaneer Club, 3 to 12 years old. Edge is for tweens, ages 11 to 14. And Vibe is for teens between 14 and 17. Now, if your kid is at one of those transitional stages where they can choose between one club or the other, I'm not saying they're not going to have a good time at either one, because Disney has plenty of activities in each area that can entertain all types of kids and tweens and teens for hours on end. But if your kid is at one of those in-between ages, there is the chance they might wind up picking neither club because the age assortment feels too young or too old for them. I mean, think of how young 11 feels, but how old 17 feels when you're smack dab in the middle at age 14. Your younger teen may not want to spend hours on end having karaoke parties with 11-year-olds, but they also may not feel like they belong with the 17-year-olds who are busy taking up the video games and foosball tables. And another good example there for those little kids, for your toddler who just turned 3, you may want them to go ahead and transition to the Oceaneers Club, since you don't have to pay for that one like you do with the It's a Small World nursery, but then again, they're going to be thrown in the mix with 10, 11, and 12-year-olds too, and that can be intimidating. So even if your kids wind up deciding they don't want to go to any of the kids' clubs during your cruise, there are still plenty of family-friendly activities your whole group can take part in all day long, but I totally understand that you need some alone time too. And you might find your cruising options slightly more limited when your kids aren't exactly keen on the stuff made for them, which could in turn mean the adults aren't going to have any free time, and it ends up kind of being a big waste of money. If you do book a Disney cruise and you want to ease your kids into the idea of hanging out at one of the kids' clubs during your voyage, then take advantage of those open house opportunities. There's definitely a big chunk of open house time on day 1 of your cruise. And during open house, the front gates of these clubs stay open and families can enjoy some of the club programs and activities together. Open house will happen a few different times throughout the cruise, but if you go on that first day, it'll allow you to get a head start on getting your kid or teen accustomed to the club, getting them registered, maybe they make a friend or two, and then you're all set for the rest of the trip. Another good reason to skip it this year is you may need more time to get that budget together. Let's say you want to invest in a Disney cruise and get all the stuff that goes along with it. Great. But even if that is the case, planning a budget might take some time, and 2024 may be too fast to turn around. Now remember, those estimated price tags, the $3,000 to $20,000 staterooms, the good news about these prices, if you're trying to look for some sort of silver lining, is that Disney doesn't expect you to pay all that money at once. You can create a budgeting plan that works best for you between when you book and when you actually get on the ship. Now, this year, Disney introduced a new flexible planning payment calculator to its website to make visualizing a budget before you book a stateroom easier. This new tool helps you break down your total cruise cost into chunked up payments. When you're looking at a particular cruise on Disney Cruise Line, you can click on the rate and room details option. From there, a sidebar is going to pop up showing more information about your selected cruise. Scroll down, you'll see the flexible payment screen, and now you can choose the payment frequency option and play around with those different budgeting methods. What you might come to find out is that the amount you're okay with spending each month toward your dream Disney cruise may make a 2025 cruise more reasonable with way less of a time crunch. Or here's another option for you. You could avoid booking your own cruise altogether. Reliable travel agents like our friends at Small World Vacations can help you figure out the perfect payment plan for your dream Disney cruise without you having to lift a finger or pay anything extra for their services. Small World Vacations can also save you major money since they already know about what discounts are available for you to use right now. And if you book a cruise right before a major promotion or deal, your agent can help you rebook your cruise to get that deal applied. In fact, these agents even wind up giving you money that you can spend toward your cruise, since they tend to offer incentives and bonuses for people who book cruises through them. You can get anywhere between $50 to $1,000 of onboard credit depending on the cruise that you book. So that's money you can spend on alcohol, on adults-only dining, on events, things like that. So whether you want to plan a cruise for next year or 2025 or beyond that, a really reliable travel agent is going to have your back. And I'm going to go ahead and put the link to their website down in the description for you in case you want to reach out for a free quote. So what do you think? Is a 2024 Disney cruise going to be on your calendar or not? Don't worry, you don't have to answer that just yet. You've still got plenty of time to mull things over with your family, but as you begin to put your heads together and decide your cruising future, don't forget to do a very free Disney Cruise Planning Guide over at disneyfoodblog.com/cruise planning. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. You know I'm in my cruise era right now, and I've been on several cruises here in the past few months, luckily, so I got a lot to talk about when it comes to cruises. We also have a cruise playlist if you're thinking about cruising. You can head over there and hear all my pros and cons and all the mistakes I made. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.